Hello there! It's Tuesday, which means it's time, of course, for another in real life video. This week, we're talking about something a bit more topical, a bit more like, this isn't going to be in the news forever. Next week is roughly next week, is the sort of faux E3 situation that we're doing, Summer Games Fest, as well as I think it's only Microsoft who has got a confirmed showcase. I'm not even sure if the PC gaming show is doing anything this year. I'm not sure. I think that may all be have gotten absorbed by Jeff Keighley's business with the Summer Games Fest. I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything about it, but then again, I don't know, the PC games showcase or whatever, I usually don't seek out information for it. I absolutely love Day 9 Sean Plott, who often they hire to host it, but I don't know, it's kind of a case where sort of whatever information comes out of it, I'll just watch that piecemeal, I don't know. But regardless, I don't think Sony, PlayStation have announced anything as of yet. There were rumors that they would maybe announce something like Ghost of Tsushima 2, the sequel to that. But otherwise, they have gone on the record saying that this will be kind of a slow year for Sony. As far as I know, there's no big, tentpole release this year. There may be, DLC or something for Spider-Man 2, something like that. As for Nintendo, I think we also don't necessarily have anything from them either. Right? I don't think we've heard yet if Nintendo is doing a state of play, right? I don't think so, which makes sense because I think it's now officially confirmed, and which is why I kind of want to do this a week before things get officially confirmed or leaked and then officially confirmed, right? I kind of like doing predictions beforehand, but, because, if it leaks, not everything that leaks I can talk about, you know what I'm saying? I can't just make a video talking about the leaks unless I want to become this is a channel now where we talk about leaks and sort of, burn those bridges, as it were. But regardless, I believe it's now officially confirmed that there will be a Switch 2, a Nintendo Switch 2 due out sometime in 2025, I believe it is, which they're probably, all hands on deck for that and sort of getting things ready for that launch. We might hear some stuff about, I don't know, something that'll show up on both of those consoles, on the Switch 1 and 2, but I don't know. I would guess a lot of stuff that's out right now will either be backwards compatible or have a new version, right? The Tears of the Kingdom probably going to show up on the Switch 2, probably either through backwards compatibility or have straight up its new version. Sort of oh god, what's it called? Smash Brothers Ultimate? The newest one? I say newest one. Also Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, sort of stuff from the Wii U era, which didn't sell quite as well as they would have liked. Having, a second life on the Switch. So I'm sure we'll see similar stuff there. But yeah, otherwise, I don't think they're participating, right? At least as of yet. They could just announce something a little bit more on shorter notice, and then come out with something there. But as far as I know, we are getting Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Fest, and, like I said, the big Microsoft situation. So, this is kind of like a fun predictions video, right? Well, of course, when those things come out, probably not do it live, I don't know. Maybe I'll record myself looking at it live, but I'll do a recording or whatever rather than a stream. And we'll do a sort of watch along as we have done in years past. And like I said, this is kind of why I wanted to get out ahead of these announcements and do this video now, because last year there was a situation where some stuff leaked and I didn't want to talk about the leaked stuff, like I said, lest I burn a bridge or so. But regardless, I guess we can start with the Microsoft stuff, which, Microsoft has closed a whole bunch of studios lately, so people are pretty justifiably, not feeling great about it, not too happy about what's going on there. They've been teasing the new Call of Duty and stuff, but that's not really something that's necessarily on my radar. Maybe I'll give it a shot because it sounds like it's coming to Game Pass day one, which is, quite the gambit, quite the gamble to see whether or not this whole Game Pass thing does work out for them or not. It seems like the final gambit in that regard. Whether or not that really pans out, we'll see going forward, I suppose, with the reception to that. Otherwise, yeah, they've got a lot to sort of cover up, right? They got a lot of work to do with covering up and letting people forget about what all happened, which in and of itself, I don't know, as a consumer, there's very little we can do because obviously whether or not the game is good or bad, whether or not the game sells well or poorly, clearly that does not matter when it comes to studio closures, as we have seen. Whether or not it has a good or poor critical reception. It wins awards or not, in the case of Hi-Fi Rush, right? But I think the main thing there, the main takeaway there, is of course, these studios and stuff should really be trying to unionize in some way, because, like I said, there's seemingly no protection. There's no safeguard, whether or not your game is like a financial success or not, a critical success or not. You're just kind of out there on a whim. If someone decides, we're bringing you down, they're bringing you down. Right? Unionization, probably the only way forward with that. Which, hey, thankfully, in the past year or two, we've seen sort of bigger names in game dev sort of having their studios form unions, right? I think the most recent, at least large case that I had heard of is CD Projekt Red now has a union going, which thank goodness after the storied initial development of Cyberpunk 2077, thank goodness they're trying to get a hold of that whole situation, right? They're really trying to come back from that, which good on them. Other stuff. So at Microsoft, sorry, we're getting off track here, talking about more general stuff. At Microsoft, right? A lot of folks, it's been sort of in the rumors since that big court hearing, where they bought ABK, where Microsoft bought ABK, sort of the documents came out of old and outdated, granted, schedules. And on there was, of course, this Fallout 3 remaster or remake. I don't think it's a remake, right? Yeah, it's a remaster, which the rumor is that they were just sort of jury rigging Unreal Engine 5, I think it was, onto the pre-existing Gamebryo just to sort of bring the graphics up. So we'll see how that pans out. It really sounds like that'll get announced this year because they keep teasing we want to have a Fallout game out sooner. The TV show has done gangbusters for our games, right? The old games have sold. People who already own them have been playing them, right? It's been such a huge bonkers hit, even more beyond what they could have possibly imagined, it sounds like. So it really it seems to me like the Fallout 3 remaster is definitely a given. Would have been pretty cool if, given the fact that this is the 30-year anniversary for the Elder Scrolls, if we also had gotten that rumored Oblivion remaster. But I'm guessing that will have to wait, right? I was even tweeting about this earlier, that it's ironic that during the 30-year anniversary for the Elder Scrolls as a franchise, we're talking so much about Fallout this year, right? Justifiably, right? It makes sense. It's just unfortunate the way in which it worked out, probably given, at least in the game space, given delays thanks to, pandemic and lockdown and all that. But I would guess it's entirely possible that on the 30-year anniversary of the Fallout franchise, the inverse happens and we're actually talking a lot about Elder Scrolls, because it could totally be the case that Elder Scrolls 6 comes out on the 30-year anniversary of Fallout, which is coming up in 4 or 5 years, something like that, which, lines up with the dev cycles for these games usually. But we'll see. Regardless, like I said, Fallout Remaster sounds like a given. So here's something. If in the case we are starting up soon, right? When Dragon's Dogma 2 wraps up, I've been planning and made it very vocal that we're going to start up a Fallout 3 playthrough. If it ends up being that Fallout 3 Remastered is a reality and it comes out in sort of, probably tail end of the year, usually when games tend to come out. If that happens, we'll just play it again. We'll play it again. I'll play it again and we'll do another playthrough with a different type of character and different type of morality. Why not? I would love to see the new enhanced graphics of the remaster, right? I wouldn't mind at all. And Fallout 3 is, relatively speaking, a shorter game compared to New Vegas and 4. So I don't mind at all. I would totally be down for that. Those are things that we know we're going to, well, we don't know, but it really seems like we're going to see there. We know for a fact we're going to see Avowed there, which I am personally interested in because of the, it takes place in the Pillars of Eternity world. There's been rumors that they've taken it to the newest version of Unreal Engine, right? I'm interested to see more about that, just sort of to sort of bask in the world, whether or not the game ends up being like a banger or not. I'm very keen on playing Avowed in some fashion or another. We did have, speaking of Obsidian, Avowed being an Obsidian role-playing game, we did hear about the Outer Worlds 2, 2 years ago now? I don't know if we're due for any news on that, though. I don't think we'll hear anything out in that regard, right? They'll probably, if they do something like that this year, it would probably be, I don't know, toward the end of the year. But I'm thinking that's at least, if not longer, further out, 2025 that we start hearing more about that, because it seemed very early stages. They even lampshaded the fact that, like, yeah, we're making the Outer Worlds 2. Pretty much all we've got now is this trailer. We don't really even have any assets for a vertical slice or whatever of gameplay to show off. So I would guess that. We'll probably see updates for games and stuff that they have out. We'll see stuff about, like, Starfield Shattered Space DLC, which I'm currently enjoying Starfield quite a bit thanks to the new update, making things a little bit more, I don't know, making there be a lot more friction in that world, wherein, sort of currently I'm at like half health on a planet because it's just really cold there, right? It's actually a factor now. It's something to consider. But we'll probably see something teased for Shattered Space, which isn't that due out in September of this year originally? I think that's due out in September. So we'll probably hear something about that. We may see, like, I think they even announced in one of the Bethesda sort of, direct videos, right? One of the Starfield, let's talk about the new update video, right? I think they tease like, oh yeah, in the coming weeks. And hey, those coming weeks, they're coming. It is probably going to be at this showcase, I would guess. We'll probably have a big, sort of thing to show off there. We've heard that there is new Doom stuff, right? We've definitely heard about that. That has come out a little bit on official levels, more so than just rumors. That'll probably be there. Indiana Jones, of course, will be there. We'll see how that pans out. I don't know. Interested to see it. Like I said, you know where my interests lie. I'm interested in the Starfield DLC, Avowed, and Fallout 3 remaster, right? It'd be interesting if we did also hear about the Oblivion remaster, but I feel like they're going to save that. They'll probably save that for next year or something. If it is real and if it does come out. Which I think, okay, we've mentioned this before, but it's worth reiterating. If Fallout 3 Remastered exists and they were able to do this, like strapping on the Unreal Engine 5 graphics update to the Gamebryo engine and having them both somehow work in tandem like that, if they manage to accomplish that, I think then it's a given that whatever team worked on that will also be working on the Oblivion remaster, right? Or have done so, right? And I think it's entirely possible we can Fallout New Vegas remaster, right? That one, granted, might require some more work because that game is a little bit more unstable on its own, right? By contemporary hardware standards. That game is a little bit more unstable than 3 and Oblivion. So that one might take some more work, but basically, if Fallout 3 Remastered happens, I think you can totally bet that sort of Bethesda games that existed on that version of their engine will also come out, right? So New Vegas, Oblivion, that will eventually happen. They maybe will, what I think would be smart if they wanted to time it, have it to where a New Vegas remaster happens when season 2 of the show happens. You know, the Fallout show. I think that would be a great idea. Which would be funny if season 2 of the show isn't as well received as season 1 was. But, what can you do? Still, probably worth them doing, right? From a financial perspective. So I think that covers it for Microsoft stuff. Like I said, we'll do a watch along at some point next week or the week after. I forget exactly when it is. Which leaves us with the Summer Games Fest, Jeff Keighley's new thing, which is really ramping up in some fashion or another, given the recent demise of E3, which, I don't know, do we think E3 will return in the distant, far-flung future in some form? I don't know. Maybe by a different name. And maybe that different name is Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Fest. Entirely possible. But as far as what we know about there, probably a lot more third-party stuff, obviously. It's possible that, like, Nintendo or Sony do something there, but I think historically they have never done anything like that. And like I said, Sony has kind of confirmed that it's going to be a roughly slow year for them, that they don't really have any major first-party games or whatever that they're doing. So at most you get like a teaser announcement, I would guess, or DLC, like I'd mentioned in the case of Spider-Man. But stuff that I would look out for would be Dragon Age Dreadwolf, right? That's supposed to still be this year. I'm kind of iffy on how that'll turn out, right? Because there has been so much coming out about the development of that game that has made it sound incredibly tumultuous, right? And a lot of the people who worked on even Dragon Age Inquisition, let alone Dragon Age Origins, but even going back to literally just the previous game in the Dragon Age franchise, they ain't there anymore, right? They're no longer working there. So much of the, as far as I know, the game studio behind that, BioWare studio, whichever one it is working on it, a lot of them are no longer present, right? So I don't know. Maybe that's a good sign. Maybe it's a bad sign, but we'll very much see. It sounds like more about that, because it sounds like they're still trying to gun for a 2024 release this year, sometime in the autumn and winter, you know, the usual time for a game like that to come out. But I would expect that. I do have a lot of interest in it, and off camera, I've played a bunch of Dragon Age. If you've seen my Steam account, you will know that I've played a fair amount of that. I've played all 3 of them. Not the DLC, though. I haven't touched the DLC except for Origins, which was phenomenal. But we'll see how that game even plays, right? We haven't even actually seen any legitimate gameplay about that. Sounds like that'll end up being there. Oh, you know what else would be cool to see at the Microsoft one? State of Decay 3, which I really enjoy. I really, really like State of Decay as like a sort of systems-focused zombie game, right? It's really, really enjoyable. The second one, I've put so much time into. I really like it. It just has so many weird, kooky systems going on. It feels like a more higher fidelity third-person version of Project Zomboid, which admittedly Project Zomboid has just a ton of weird systems sort of attached to it in its own right. Definitely more so than a State of Decay, but I think State of Decay is a bit more approachable because of it. But yeah, I could see that being there. It's been a long, long time since we heard about that game. I think I heard rumors that it was still being worked on and may have a showing here. I don't know. I think that's what I'd seen. It's possible. It's entirely possible. But, as for Jeff Keighley's situation, I don't know what else we might see there. It would be cool to see. Shoot, I don't know. Oh, you know what? I bet we could see, given that they won so much at the Game Awards last year, Jeff Keighley's Game Awards, I could totally see a update for Baldur's Gate 3 being present. I've been keeping track of when crossplay comes out for Baldur's Gate 3, and it is still not out. They have cross saves, but not crossplay. And I could see them doing an announcement for that, saying like, oh yeah, it's finally here, crossplay. You can now play with your friends across platforms. You can do a multiplayer game. I could see them teasing that at the Summer Games Fest. Maybe it happens on the day of it. You know, there could be one of those moments where it's like, yes, and this is when it's ready. We're ready to go with it. I could see that happening. I would very much love, and it seems as if they have talked about it as well. They've definitely teased it in some fashion. But also, Alan Wake 2 had major involvement with Jeff Keighley's Game Awards in the past. Last year, they picked up awards alongside Baldur's Gate 2. They were the two, in my opinion, very deserving titans, walking away with many awards to each of them. Love to see it. But not only that, but in years prior, Alan Wake 2 was originally announced at either Summer Games Fest or the Game Awards. So I could see them finally teasing the DLC there as well, which I would be extremely looking forward to. That, like, I absolutely loved Alan Wake 2 so damn much. It's such an incredible art house sort of narrative focused game. Incredibly up my alley, especially with how much, like, reverence it gives to, like, David Lynch's Twin Peaks and all that. It's truly incredible. So the DLC, if they announced there, that would probably be like my favorite thing that I'm looking forward to, right? We're supposed to get two bits of DLC for Alan Wake 2. There's Night Springs, and then I think it's called the Lake House, right? Which is probably a bit further out. I don't know how the dev cycle will work on that. Maybe one will come out in the summer and then one in like the winter of next year, maybe, right? So like January, I would say January 2025. But we'll see. We'll see. Definitely seems like they're gearing up for at least one tease. Probably the Night Spring stuff. So looking forward to that. I'm sure there'll be loads of smaller games as well. I would love to see Ted Peterson, his new Wayward Realms stuff show up there in some form. Hopefully they can get like a trailer together. I would love to see that show up. Right? We're starting to get a lot of, I don't know, former BGS folks doing their things now too. You know, maybe we'll see some more of that. Like I said, with Once Lost Games, Wayward Realms, probably see that. Oh, I would imagine as well. We recently, like a few months ago, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was announced officially, but they had a big sort of showcase already, so I'm not sure if we'll see more of it there. I don't know. It's possible, but I feel like they kind of already blew their load, so to speak. But yeah, that's all sort of what I've got on my radar for all of that, all my predictions. Well, what's something that I would, like a dark horse or whatever, that I would love to see show up at the Games Fest that we don't really know anything about? I don't know. I guess Remedy's next thing with like the Control sequel or their sort of like cooperative multiplayer Control spinoff. I would love to see more about that, but I think they'll just keep it constrained to Alan Wake 2 DLC. It'd be amazing if they went otherwise, but I'm sure there'll be like some big sort of reveal toward the end of it that you're meant to be wowed by, right? What about from Capcom? Have we heard anything recently from Capcom in the realm of like Resident Evil? There's been some sort of talk about who the protagonist will be throughout the next Resident Evil, but I think that's all just unofficial leaks, right? And rumor mongering, which may be fairly credible, right? But probably not something I should talk about here, right? Because it is very much in that realm. Some people have said, oh, maybe we'll see Grand Theft Auto 6 there. I don't think so. They don't need to do that. Rockstar Games is beyond the need for any of these showcases. They will do whatever they want on their own time. I mean, it will absolutely be in the year in which it comes out, which they're shooting for 2025, right? Will they make it? I don't know. But whenever it comes out, it'll be by far the biggest game ever, right? Surely it will be. It would be so wild if that were not the case. That would be absolutely shocking if that were the case, if it ended up not being a huge deal when it comes out. But everything is pointing in the direction that it will be absolutely enormous. By then, Shadow of the Erdtree will be out. It's possible we could see something from FromSoft. There's always the Bloodborne PC version faithful who are very hopeful about that, but I don't know if we'll see anything in that regards. Right. If anything, if there were ever a time to sort of announce that, it'll probably be, or not Bloodborne specifically, but whatever is next from Software, it'll probably be in like the Game Awards itself, as sort of their trailers, their like onslaught of trailers and whatnot. Same goes for probably Lies of P and its teased sequel. I couldn't imagine them having a turnaround that rapidly. Maybe though. Maybe that's entirely possible. We know for sure that they're going to be working on one. They even teased what it's going to be about at the end of their first game. No spoilers, of course. But that seems like too far out to get anything here. But yeah, that'll do it. Like I said, we'll do watch-alongs, especially for Summer Games Fest and Microsoft. If Nintendo and Sony do anything and they have games there that I have interest in, we'll do it for sure. We'll do a watch-along for them. But as it stands, I don't know if they have anything that, even if they did do something this year, which, especially in the case of Sony, seems incredibly unlikely. Given that they had gotten out ahead of time and said, nothing major from us this year. I don't think they've really got anything that's sort of on my radar, necessarily, right? As far as, role-playing games are concerned. A lot of people were talking about the next Persona game, Persona 6. That's been kind of like in rumor. Granted, that isn't like Sony exclusive or whatever. But I think that's not far along enough yet to warrant a trailer here, right? It sounds like it's still in fairly early versions, right? Anyway, that'll do it. So next week we'll have a regular in real life video and we'll tag along a whole bunch of watch-alongs, right? Sort of very topical, they age very poorly, not exactly much reason to watch them years in advance or whatever with the watch-alongs, but I don't know. I kind of enjoy it, and nonetheless, so I can't help myself. So, until next time, please take care of each other.